As college football fans, I don't really think fans could ask for anything more than what the college football playoffs gave us in the quarterfinals. Penn State and Boise State was a much closer game than the final score would lead you to believe, as Penn State came out on top after an electric performance from Drew Aller and their defense, and they will be taking on the red-hot Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who were able to hold off the Georgia Bulldogs and advance to the semifinals. Both of these teams are teams that have really struggled to get to the national championship game over the last few years, but both of these programs are one win away from being in the national championship games and having a chance to hoist the college football playoff trophy. Who is going to win this game? What are the X factors, and what should we be looking for on both sides of the ball for each team? That's what we'll be talking about in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We have done previews on every single college football playoff game up to this point, and we will be doing one final one for the national championship. If you enjoy these type of preview videos, stay tuned as my NFL playoff previews will be coming up very soon. We've got prospect spotlights as well going up just about every day on the channel, and if you enjoy college football and the NFL draft, I highly recommend hitting that subscribe button. But we're going to kick this off with the Penn State Nittany Lions, who this is a really interesting team to look into because James Franklin, the big knock on him over the last decade, it seems like, is that Penn State can't get it done in big games. And while each of the last two games, James Franklin has gotten it done and he has had his team ready and prepared. This is a team that really looked just more physically dominant than the Boise State Broncos. And right out the gate, they were able to do that. I think a lot of people are going to talk about Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter, but I think the unsung hero of this team, particularly in that Boise State game, was linebacker Kobe King. He was flying all over on the defensive side of the ball, making plays, creating stops at the line of scrimmage, and really helping this team contain Ashton Jeanty, which they weren't able to do ultimately. Ashton Jeanty still had over 100 yards, but an incredible performance from their defense, and one that I think is definitely going to put them on the radar of a lot of these other teams. Offensively, it's kind of the same story we have felt with this team, but it seems like they are getting right at the right time. The run game is really starting to pick up, and we've seen that in each of their first two playoff games. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton were very good against SMU, and they did it yet again against Boise State. Each of them were just making big plays at the line of scrimmage, forcing missed tackles, being able to bounce the pass or bounce the run to the outside and make big time plays with their legs. This is a Penn State run blocking unit that I think is one of the best in the country. They're going to be able to open up run lanes for their guys. And the question is going to be, can Notre Dame stop the run? Because nobody has been able to do that. And it's been a big part of why Penn State is in this situation. I also think that I don't think it should be up for a debate that Drew Aller is the best quarterback remaining in the playoffs right now. He is really starting to come on, and he made some absolutely beautiful throws against Boise State with incredible touch and timing across the middle of the field. That's what Penn State fans have been hoping we'd see from Drew Aller, and it is finally starting to click. Now, one thing to note is that star edge rusher Abdul Carter did go out in this game, didn't see the field as much. Now, you got the rest. Hopefully, he's good to go in this game, but if he's not, it's going to be pretty tough to win this game because I think it's a Notre Dame team that is really starting to fly under the radar. You look on a lot of college football threads, so many people have been calling Notre Dame frauds. They're not in the conference. They didn't play a tough schedule. I think that's completely false. And if you look at their schedule, this is a team that had 4 ranked wins. They beat Louisville, they beat Texas A&M, they beat Army, and they beat Navy. Those are 4 teams that were very competitive and very good all season long that Notre Dame was able to handle. The NIU loss was a tough one, but this team has bounced back, and I think Marcus Freeman is doing an unbelievable job at coaching this group. And we saw it against Georgia. The disguised looks, the ability to run the football in a variety of ways. They just have so many weapons in the backfield, whether that's Jeremiah Love or Riley Leonard. they can just throw so many different looks at a defense, and they seem to be able to pick up yards and make big plays. The special teams as well for Notre Dame has been a big factor for them throughout these playoffs, setting them up in good field position. You get a kick return touchdown against Georgia. They're making big plays in both the special teams areas and offensively on the ground. And I think their defense is doing some very good things. Riley Mills, unfortunately, out for the remainder of the playoffs, but Howard Cross, RJ Oben, this is a team that went out in the portal and they wanted to add some more speed around the edge, and they've been able to do that. They've been able to create pressure at a consistent rate, and it's going to be a really fun matchup. I think, once again, we've talked about this, once you get into the playoffs, it comes down to the trenches. Who is going to be more physical in the trenches and who is going to be able to make more plays? If we look at the offensive line matchup in this game, I think it's pretty even. I think both Penn State and Notre Dame have had very good play from the offensive lines. They've been able to open up run lanes, and they've been able to protect the quarterback. I think I would slightly lean towards Penn State, though. They did a pretty good job of containing the pass rush of Boise State. Now, Boise State was able to showcase a lot of blitz packages, which I think Notre Dame should be looking to do. They should be able to create pressure with their linebackers. They've got some great speed in that linebacker room. I expect them to be trying to blitz Drew Aller consistently to try and make him play off time and force some miscommunications. If we're looking at the defensive line, I also will favor Penn State. I think that this is a defensive line, especially if Abdul Carter is good to go, that has so much NFL talent on it, and I think that they are a very well-rounded group. Abdul Carter, the speed, Denai Dennis-Sutton has been a monster for this team this year, and they've gotten incredible play from, as we mentioned, Kobe King as an extra player in the box and coming downhill. They've gotten good play from Jalen Reed, who was incredible against Boise State. This is a really, really good defense that I do think favors Penn State. And then it kind of comes down to the quarterback/coach combination. I know we talked about James Franklin getting it done these last 2 weeks, but you kind of just get the feeling that he is going to mess one of these up, right? I mean, I don't expect this Penn State team to go all the way to the national championship. And from what we're seeing out of Riley Leonard and Marcus Freeman right now, I think this is looking like one of the better combos in the sport. He really knows his quarterback's strengths. He understands how to get him going on the ground and making plays. But I know I picked Notre Dame to go to the national championship in my initial predictions when I did my playoff predictions, and I still think it's very possible. I definitely think there is a route that Notre Dame can go to win this game. You're going to have to get out to an early lead, and we've talked about this. If Notre Dame has to play from behind, I really worry about them because I don't think that Riley Leonard is a quarterback that can make consistent passes to win you a championship. I just don't think he's that guy. I think Drew Aller can be that guy right now, and from what we've seen from him these last few weeks, I think it's pretty hard to go against what Drew Aller is doing. I think this game is going to be the closest game of the playoffs that might be determined on a walk-off field goal, and I could see it going either way. I don't expect it to be a very high-scoring game, but I am going to take Penn State to win this football game 21-17, and I just think it comes down to the quarterback. I think Drew Aller is going to be the difference maker. I also think that they have a few more playmakers that I trust. I trust Tyler Warren. I trust Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. And while it's been a great run for Notre Dame, I just think Penn State is a more physical, well-rounded team going into these semifinals. And I think Penn State is going to advance to the national championship for a chance to hoist the college football playoff trophy.